back, aspiring teen chefs, here to make pie. So we're going to be doing a different pastry recipe than the one that I did for pumpkin pie. I actually prefer the other recipe because it makes a bulk, makes a lot of pie crust. And the pie we're going to make today is strawberry and apple mix. Jillian, I'm going to get you to cut. We need a half a pound of butter in here, so grab yourself a knife. Joe, we need a 1/4 cup of lard, so you'll also have to get yourself a knife. While he's doing that, Jillian, can you take our measuring cup here and fill it with 2 cups of flour?
Yeah.
Pop it in the bowl, please.
This piece that you want to
Need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So can I get you to grab a very small bowl? There, good. I need you to measure 1/2 teaspoon of salt and put it in the bowl. We're gonna mix that with our flour, but we don't want it just throw it on our shortening. It'll stick there.
Is that?
Yeah. And we are also gonna need 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. No, just wait, we're gonna mix it together. 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And for sugar, we are gonna need 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now this is a really excellent pie crust for your sweet pies. Pumpkin pie, apple pie, strawberry pie, lemon meringue pie, whatever kind of pie suits your fancy. They have to be 2 full tablespoons. Okay, good. That's 1. And 2. Now the other thing that we're gonna, if you have that water, was it ice cold? Because it has to be ice cold. Okay, so put a whole bunch of ice in there. Especially because our shortening is a little bit warm today. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna add those minor ingredients in with our flour. We're gonna mix it. Just kind of get it through the flour so it's, you don't bite into your pie and get a salty bit. Doesn't have to be thoroughly mixed because it'll be in the mixing process. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add all of this to our shortening. And as you can see, and flaky pastry. So we're cutting our shortening into our flour mixture. And I'm gonna get each of my sous chefs to give this a whirl. What does a clock do when it's hungry?
What?
It goes for seconds. Come on, that was funny. Okay, so keep cutting. Little hands today. Our water, just a couple of tablespoons at a time. So we're gonna start with just maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. And we're gonna spread it all over. 1, 2, I think I'm gonna start with 3. 3. And I'm gonna see if that's enough. Again, you don't want it too wet. If it's really wet pastry, what ends up happening is it shrinks a lot too. You just want it to be able to form a ball. So that was 3. I'm gonna add another 3 in. It usually takes about 9, depending on how dry or how humid your flour is. So there's 3, that's 6. Just about perfect. Give me a second here to kind of eyeball this as I'm mixing and make sure that we don't need any more water. You know what, it's looking pretty good. I don't think we're gonna need any more water. So this is about the most, I'm just taking off my ring, that I'm gonna handle it. I just wanna make sure I get everything all together into a ball, so which is much easier with your hands than it is with a spatula. So I'm just gonna pick up everything so we don't have any ingredients that get left behind. And as you can see, it's a very small recipe for a pie. You can usually get 2, maybe 3 crusts out of this. So again, handling it as little as possible. That pie crust is ready. As this time it only took us 8 of those tablespoons. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna roll it out. So we have to get a few things ready. I'll be back in a second. That wasn't too long. So we just got ourselves organized a little bit here. So there's our pie dough. We're gonna split our pie dough in half. So I'm gonna karate chop it. You ready?
Sure.
Think I can get all the way through on the first chop? Oh, look at Wimpy Mummy. Okay, so we're gonna use half. And just like any pie dough, you sprinkle some flour on there, not too much. And just because I don't want any of the pie dough sticking, I'm just gonna roll my rolling pin through the flour before I pop my pastry on. Now again, very little handling, as little handling as possible. Try and get it into a ball, pop it on. Now one of the tricks that I've learned is if you don't want your edges of your pastry splitting, just go around the edge with your fingers like this and kind of smash it down with your knuckles. And then pie dough must be rolled, never stretched. That's also one of the failures of pie dough shrinking up in the oven. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that mine won't. I'm not the best at this. This is my mom's forte. She's the baker. But you want to go any thinner than this, or else you're not going to have a lot of structure for your pie. So I know that some chefs will roll the pie dough on the rolling pin. I like to do this just because I can let that pie dough relax. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm not pulling it. I'm actually gonna back it up and let it just fall naturally in there. Let it rest gently. Okay, so I've got my frozen berries in here. Like I said, we couldn't use all the raspberries, or sorry, pardon me, strawberries when we picked them. So I froze them. They are all cleaned. I'm gonna keep as much of the juice as I can. And because I have 30 tart shells, I'm going to do quite a bit. So this is about half of a 6-quart pan. A cup of sugar. Sounds like a lot of sugar, I know, but this is all very tart. My 1 cup doesn't fit in there as nice, so I'm just gonna use the half cup. And I'm gonna do 2 half cups of sugar. And for those of you who are dying, I am diabetic, so you guys aren't dying, I'm dying. Okay, and we're also gonna add a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of salt in here. Like I think I've explained a few times, salt is a flavor enhancer. So that berry flavor is going to intensify with the salt. It's also going to help a tiny bit with the sweetness. And if I had any lemon juice, my one son I sent to go look for lemon juice assured me we had lemon juice, but we have none, and I just came back from the grocery store. So I'm going to stir this up. I'm going to pop this on medium heat. I'm going to let it boil for about 10 minutes. So that should be enough time for us to get these apples all ready, and we'll glaze our sauce. We're going to use some cornstarch with cold water, and then we're going to cook it a little bit more just to get a nice glaze. We're going to add in our raw apples, yes, raw apples, and we are going to get this puppy to bake because this liquid will be hot enough. It will definitely cook those apples, and it'll be really yummy, I'm sure, with little bits of apples in it. Okay, you guys ready? I'm going to put this on the stove. Okay. Strawberries did lose some moisture in the freezer. That's why there's a lot of liquid in the bag. That's generally what happens to fruit when you freeze it. You get a loss of moisture, but it will go back in just lovely. And as you can see, this looks so good. You'll see that the strawberries are not like the hothouse ones. Oh, I got a little leaf here. They're much smaller than the ones you buy in the grocery store. I can't wait to eat this. We did go through one whole giant Ziploc bags fresh just for like breakfast cereal. And we still have, I think we still have one more of these in the deep freeze. So I'm going to combine it and some Saskatoons. And I'm going to make some jam out of that. So another leaf. Okay, I think we're good. So we'll just let this come up to temperature. These were taken out yesterday to thaw. So they're not frozen right now. They are cold though. They were in the fridge. So we've let our pie crust rest for a little bit. And so we're just going to cut the edges off. Again, please, whatever you do, avoid stretching your dough. Just be nice and gentle. It's one of the reasons why when you have a bottom crust pie like this, you don't just use your knife to go around because that will tend to pull your dough. So if you just go like this, it just very gently cuts the edge. And you have a very nice nice edge, all cut and trimmed. It's got a little bit of space to shrink if it needs to. And then I'm actually going to crimp my edges so we don't have a giant hunk of pie dough on the outside crust. I like my pie crust to be a little bit more delicate on the edges. So it's just a matter of pinching, and everybody does it very slightly differently. My mom showed me how to do this, and hers never looks the same as mine. I don't know why. I guess maybe I got fatter fingers, I don't know. But I'm just gonna pinch it all the way around. Now this pie crust is ready, and I'm also gonna get the tarts out and get them on a baking sheet. And then our filling should be almost done by that time. We'll come back when we're ready to fill I'm a little confused. When I'm ready to add the cornstarch mixture to our berries to get a nice gel happening, we'll come back, I'll show you how to do that. Then we'll come back for filling. I'm going to get the cornstarch mixture ready for our strawberries. It's too bad we don't have smell-o-vision because those strawberries smell delicious. So I just put kind of 2 heaping tablespoons full of cornstarch. And then we have to add cold water, always cold water to your thickening, whether it be flour or cornstarch or whatever sorry, my mouth isn't working today for some odd reason. Whatever kind of thickening you choose to use, there are several different ways to thicken. Flour and cornstarch is just the 2 main ones. So I'm just mixing this up. You want it fairly soupy. And I will have to stir it again because cornstarch tends to settle in the bottom out of your water. So just before I add it, I'll stir it again. But now it's ready to go. Our strawberries, I keep saying raspberries, don't know why. Probably because raspberries are my favorite. Our strawberries are just starting to boil. We're gonna let them boil for maybe another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna add this. So we'll be back then. We're back. Our strawberries have been boiling for about 5 minutes. Jillian's gonna crack an egg into our bowl here. And we're just gonna make an egg wash for the top of our pie. Good job. No shells, no shells. And Joe is gonna whisk that up with a fork. Okay, I'm gonna show you how, okay? So you just tip your bowl slightly so that all your egg is deeper. And you just go around circles. Give that, as you can see, this is very sludgy on the bottom. And you can feel it when you're stirring it. It's a bit of a resistance on the bottom. So you just mix this until that resistance is gone. And then you know your cornstarch is all mixed in. I turned down our burner because this was really bubbling. And you add your cornstarch mixture a little at a time. Cornstarch has way more thickening power than what flour does. However, it's not as nice in some ways for gravies and like your meat gravies that you might want to reheat or something like that, because it tends to gel. Now, since these apples, they are going to add a little bit more moisture into this. So we'll see if we have to add any more cornstarch or not. I doubt it, because the cornstarch will keep thickening as it cooks. Okay, I'm going to add in our apples into this. As you can see, it's just a nice amount of apples, not too much. We want that beautiful strawberry flavor in there. Like I said, I wish we had smell-o-vision because, oh my goodness, this smells so good. I'm almost drooling. Actually, I think I am drooling. So, just gonna stir this up. Mix it up. And these apples are nice and thin. So they're gonna bake really well in the oven. And this lovely filling is gonna go into our pies. Then we're gonna bake them. Now, I'm gonna set my oven right now. I always set my oven, so we're gonna throw our pie in first. So I set, for some reason the timer came on. I'm gonna set my oven to 400. And we're gonna put our pie in at 400 to start. For some reason, this really does help your pie from shrinking, your pie crust from shrinking. And then we're gonna turn it down to 350, and then we're gonna put the tarts in. So that looks lovely. Oh, it smells so good. I could just eat this whole pot right now. Well, I'd probably burn my mouth. Okay, so we're gonna start filling. If our cameraman wants to make his way back over to the other counter, and yeah. So we have our pie crust, we have our tarts. There's 30 tarts in a package, so we did 15 per tray. So I'm gonna fill our pie first, and then Joe and Jillian are gonna fill our tarts, and hopefully we have enough filling. I'm pretty sure we do. I was kind of winging it because I didn't have lemon juice. So I decided to change my recipe last minute. So I've just filled this. Now, always remember that your fruit does shrink down when you're baking. So give it an overfill. Okay? And so it's slightly heaping over the top. So you guys, here, let's split this up a bit. Let's put our filling in between you. And you guys can start filling your tray. Again, heap it up. Okay. Oh, I didn't scrunch the edges. It's not quite as important on this one because we're doing a fancy schmancy crinkle crust, but still, it's a good technique to follow whenever you're doing pies. Now you can see some of the older dough was in this one, and you can see how absolutely fast that dough will crack and dry once it's been handled. So this doesn't have to be quite as neat because we're not doing a giant sheet over the top of our cake, pie. I'm just going to do this, and we'll cut out some crinkles, and then we'll leave it. I think I got a little piece of apple in here. Fold, pick up your strip, lay it down so that you've got a nice edge there, and you can actually crimp that. Then you take your next strip, here, lay that over top here. So when I do my next strip, it's going to go on top of this one. You're just doing every second one. Or sorry, you're rotating from one side to the other. Okay? So this one is going to go underneath this one. Oops. Slip there. And on top of this one. And then you can flip this one back, because that's going to be on top now. So now we have to do this side. And this time it's going to go, this one's on top, so the next one has to go underneath. And as you can see, this one was underneath, so this one has to go on top. And our next strip, this one's underneath, so our next one's going to go on top of that. Lift this one. Okay, I am going to need some more of these. I could cut some of these off. So this one's on top, so we're going to lift this, and we're going to do one underneath, and this will be our last strip this way. So we can actually just pinch that a bit. And then it goes on top of that one, goes underneath this one, and then on top of that one. Now we still don't want to pinch this edge because we're still going to put one more strip in right here. I know that there's probably some bakers out there who have it down to, oh yeah, we use exactly this many strips. I don't really have it that way. I just kind of wing it every time and see how the pie is taking shape. So now we have our crisscross pattern. So again, we're going to gently cut this with just our hands and just press on it, and it'll trim off all the little pieces of pie dough here on the edge. This is heavy. And we're going to give it a egg wash. Just makes your pie look amazing when it comes out of the oven. So you have to be a little bit more careful when you're egg washing a weave crust like this, that you don't wreck your weave. So be a little bit more gentle. There we go. That's looking really good. Does that look good, guys?
Yes.
It sure smells good. It smells like we filled the entire house with fresh strawberry jam. So the last thing that we're gonna do is I like to put a little sugar sprinkle on top of my egg wash. Just very lightly sprinkle some sugar. Now we don't need to do this to our tarts because our tarts are gonna be open, and we're gonna be whipping up some whipped cream next for topping for our strawberry tarts. So hopefully this will cure my kid's sweet tooth for a couple of days. And I'm gonna put, so I started my oven at 400 like I showed you. Pie is gonna go in center rack, in the center of it, but I'm gonna put a tray underneath it because I don't want it to leak all over my oven, which I just cleaned today again. I hate dirty ovens. Okay. So right on here. So if it drips, it just drips on the thing. You take this, throw it in the sink, and you wash it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so let's at 400. And we will time this. Ouch, I just burnt myself. We will time this for sure because you have to turn it down or else you're going to get a very large hockey puck. So, all right. So in 10 minutes, we'll come back, we'll throw our tarts in. When everything's done baking, we'll come back at the end for the tasting. Or for the taking out, then the tasting. We can do our tasting. Our pie, I believe, should be done. I was just thinking about that as I was whipping the cream. I was kind of doing the mental math. We did 10 minutes at 450. Then we did a half an hour. And then we've done another 10 minutes. So that's almost an hour. And you can see that our crust is nicely golden browned. This is what the point of the sugar was. Makes it brown beautifully. It is puffed up right now. I expect it's going to shrink a little bit. But it's looking mighty tasty. And it's just dripping right now, so we're going to let it drip and cool here. This glass, I can't put it outside to cool. I do have my cooling racks here. These are the coolest little cooling racks. Princess House makes these. You buy them in the set of 2. Okay, so we're all done. We've topped the ones that were outside because they're nice and cool. -12 will do that. And we're ready to taste. So why doesn't everybody grab one? And I put the whipped cream on them while everybody was having a little break here. And let's try our strawberry tarts. Jamie, do you need some help?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Please and thank you are the magic words. There we go. Okay, so give a try. Take a bite. See what you think.
I can actually take mine out.
Yum,
These
yum.
are kind of hard to check out.
Mm.
You don't have to eat yours like that.
Let's see.
You know what it tastes like?
Mhm.
Summer. It
Wow.
tastes like summer. I was kind of needing that because it's kind of cold and wintry out. There you go, Justin. Don't want to drop it on Jeanette's head. Oh, these are good, guys. Aren't they good? Okay, I've never made them like this before. I'm totally making these again.
I'm glad you made them.
These are super tasty, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10,
10.
100 if it.
Joe, you got whipped cream under your nose.
10 out of
No.
10. I'll give it 10 out of 10.
Mmm,
I 10 out of 10.
mmm. Those fresh strawberries,
So good.
they're so good, aren't they, guys?
Yes.
Super strawberry flavor. So, anyways, so that's our little adventure making strawberry tarts, doing our own pastry. The pie is still too hot to cut, so we won't bother cutting that. But you could see that it turned out really lovely. And the rest of the tarts just came out, so that's why they're cooling on the rack there. And I have a feeling that everybody's going to be having seconds of these tarts after we're off camera. So,
Yeah.
remember, if you like our video, hit.
The notification bell.
Yeah.
Well, you have to subscribe first.
Yeah,
so
and leave a
subscribe,
like.
subscribe
The
And
notification bell.
and
leave a like.
and leave a like.
And don't forget to comment what dish you want us to make next.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, put some comments in the thing, and I will try and make whatever you want. This was an experiment today that turned out very deliciously.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not one of those people that doesn't post fails. So even if it really fails, I will even post that video. So, are we ready, guys?
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, yeah, yeah.